Imagine waking up, not in your own bed, but in a narrow trench filled with mud. The air smells like smoke, wet soil, and something much worse. You haven't taken a proper bath in weeks. Your boots are soaked. Rats run past your feet. Artillery shells explode day and night. And every time you climb out of the trench, there's a chance you'll never come back. This wasn't a nightmare. This was everyday life for millions of soldiers during World War I. So, how did they survive one of the harshest battlefields in history? Let's step into the trenches. The trenches stretched for hundreds of miles across Europe. They weren't neat or comfortable. Most were narrow, cold, and constantly filled with mud. When it rained, the trenches flooded. Soldiers often stood in icy water for hours, sometimes for days. Sleeping wasn't easy. Privacy didn't exist, and personal space was a luxury no one had. The walls could collapse. Enemy shells could strike without warning. Even during quiet moments, no one truly felt safe. The trenches became a strange kind of home, one nobody wanted to live in. Every day began with one simple question. Would there be enough food? Fresh meals were rare. Most soldiers survived on canned meat, hard biscuits, bread, and simple soups. Clean drinking water wasn't always easy to find. Supplies had to travel dangerous roads while enemy artillery constantly targeted them. Sometimes soldiers ate food that had been sitting in the mud for days. Hunger became normal. So did exhaustion. Yet every soldier knew. Without food, you couldn't fight. And without water, you wouldn't last long. You might think the biggest threat was enemy soldiers. Sometimes, it wasn't. The trenches were filled with rats, huge rats. Some grew as large as house cats. They fed on leftover food, garbage, and sometimes even the bodies left behind after battles. Then there were lice. Almost every soldier had them. They spread quickly through clothing and blankets. Constant itching became part of everyday life. Disease spread easily. One of the worst conditions was trench foot. When soldiers stood in cold, wet boots for too long, their feet became swollen, painful, and severely infected. In serious cases, doctors had no choice but to amputate. Something as simple as dry socks could save your life. Imagine trying to sleep while explosions shake the ground around you every few minutes. Another shell lands nearby. No one knew where the next explosion would hit. Then came the whistles, one loud blast, and soldiers climbed out of the trench. This was called going over the top. It meant running across open ground while enemy machine guns fired relentlessly. Many soldiers knew the moment they climbed out, they might never return. The fear never truly disappeared. They simply learned to live with it. Because courage isn't the absence of fear. Sometimes, it's moving forward despite it. What helped many soldiers survive wasn't better equipment. It was each other. Men shared food, helped carry wounded friends, wrote letters for injured soldiers, and watched each other's backs every single day. In the trenches, trust became more valuable than weapons. Some friendships lasted a lifetime, because when you survive unimaginable hardship together, you become family. That bond gave many soldiers the strength to face another day. World War I trenches weren't just battlefields. They were places where ordinary people faced extraordinary hardship. They survived freezing winters, hunger, disease, fear, and constant danger. Some survived because they were lucky. Others survived because they adapted. They stayed disciplined, protected one another, and refused to give up, even when hope seemed impossible. Today, when we look back at those muddy trenches, we don't just remember the war, we remember the incredible resilience of the people who lived through it. Because survival isn't always about winning. Sometimes survival simply means making it through one more day. I'm your Fox Guide from Survivalify. If you enjoyed this journey into history, subscribe for more historical survival stories, because history isn't just about the past, it's filled with lessons that still matter today. I'll see you in the next adventure.